Welcome into a brand new edition of the Family Food and Football Podcast, as we will sit down and talk with head coach of your Ottawa University Braves football program, Nick Davis, and kind of get everything caught up since the end of the season back in November to where we are now here in mid-March. And joining us now is the head coach of your Ottawa University Braves, Nick Davis. Coach, it's been too long. I apologize for not being in contact as much, but it's good to talk to you.
It's great to be here. We've definitely had a lot of football, family, and food since our last conversation.
So we've got a lot to cover and probably a short time to do it. But uh, first of all, we'll start with the season. It finished up, and you've had a chance to kind of look back at everything. Uh, where do you see yourself as you head into year two? And it's always an opportunity to grow and learn, but do you feel like that there are some specific areas that coming into year two that you're going to be really ready for as a coach of Ottawa University football?
Yeah, it's a great amount of time to reflect on what you did well and what you didn't do well. The offense is had made great strides in trying to figure out what they're efficient at, and with Coach Barty leaving and me switching back to the defense side of the football, that gave me a perspective of watching the whole entire defensive season under a microscope to see what we did well and what we could have done better. And you know, we had a young staff. Everyone in our program coached for the first time their position this season on our staff, including me coaching offense. So it gives our staff the ability of seven young coaches to grow and figure out what we did better and or what we could do better, what we did pretty good job of that we think we can keep, and is there things that we can improve on. And we went to the AFCA National Convention, the American Football Coaches National Convention. We will go to Kansas, has a football clinic for high school and college staffs. K-State's got one coming up. So a lot of professional development that we have spent as a coaching staff. And ultimately, we got to get better than executing with our players. There's only so much things that a coaching staff can do. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the players play the game, and not that I don't think we have bad football players, but we got to execute better and put them in better situations to be successful, and they got to make plays when we put them in those situations to be successful.
As you looked back at that first season, what do you feel like you as a coach are going to do better here in year two? Is there anything that you look back at and say, there's an aha moment? I should have been doing this, or I need to change that.
Yeah, and I think a little bit of it was you reflect back and you notice that last spring we had a lot of stuff humming, and then you take for granted that, okay, they're going to go away for 3 months, come back, and you're not going to miss a beat. Well, you add 40% more to your football team from guys that weren't there, and you got to try to teach them the culture. Our guys, and it's no excuse, but our guys moved in on August 2nd. Our first practice was August 7th, with school being that first day. So we had really 5 days to get our guys ready, and we're kind of, didn't get a football camp like a lot of other programs across the country where you can spend a lot of time. Our guys dove right into the school. So just getting another off season with our offense, being in the same terminology with our defense for the third consecutive season, I think is going to allow us to get better.
Season ends, and just as you think that everything is going to hum along, we have to make a coaching change, or as a coach, Dante Barty leaves and left an opening, and so a big announcement was made, and bringing back Clarence Anderson into the fold for Ottawa University. So walk us through the process and walk us through how everything will be structured with this football team's coaching and the coaching staff and how it'll work.
Yeah, we advertise for kind of best coach out there and evaluating our candidate pool. I don't think there was another candidate on the defensive side of the football that could bring what Dante had done for us. And I have coached defense at a high level for 10 years. So I thought it would be best. I'm not an offensive coach. I'm not an offensive guru to go over on the defensive side of the football. And then at that point, it was figuring out, is there a candidate that it would be a good special teams coordinator candidate? Is there a candidate that could help Coach Hennis from the offensive coordinator standpoint? And so we found an alum who luckily I was able to coach 10 years ago, 13 years ago, I guess. And he checks the box. He was the special teams coordinator at his last school. He was the co-offensive coordinator. So he's going to come in. Clarence is going to come in and coach our wide receivers and our tight ends. And Coach Hennis is going to still continue to be our offensive coordinator and coach our quarterbacks and our running backs, at least for this spring. We're trying to find some volunteer assistant to help us out with the running backs. And then Coach Pate's going to coach our offensive line again. And on the defense side of the football, Devin Johnson was a GA for about a month for us. And then he actually ended up getting a role with Emporia State as a graduate assistant. So we're pretty excited for his opportunity to, learn. And I stress to him, go learn from different people. You have the connections here. I'd love for him to have stayed, but he's going to move on, which allowed us to kind of elevate Cole Greenwood, who'd been helping out. And he's going to be our defensive line coach, which he did with Coach Garcia last year. And Reese Shop's coming back to coach our linebackers. And I'm actually going to get Jacob Garcia trained up with the defensive backs and help me. So we're going to kind of tag team the defensive backs. And that's our staff. With maybe some potential late ads for, high school volunteer assistants out there. Anyone that wants to help us out, contact me. We're willing to be able to work with you and your schedule to help out our program.
So you're going to move back onto the defensive side of the ball. Will you be making the play calls defensively then for the football team? Is it going to be a semi-anarchical commune to make these decisions? So kind of discuss with us here how that will work out.
Yeah, I think initially I will be getting the making all the hard decisions, but I like to get to a point where all of our coaches come up with suggestions and be able to help me. A lot of people, hey, you're the head coach and you have to be the defensive coordinator. It's all I've known really is working with young coaches my whole entire coaching career, being the only full-time coach. So in fact, I'll have one more or maybe two more assistants. So I'm pretty excited about that opportunity. And the biggest thing is Coach Hennis and Coach Anderson are going to have to probably do a little bit more in terms of the day-to-day administration that I was kind of doing. And that's what I think, if I look back, I tried to do too much myself and not put a lot on the young coaches, where I think moving forward and what we've done since the end is allow those young coaches to grow within different roles within our program.
And then on the offensive side of the ball, Coach Hennis will ultimately still be the play caller, but maybe with some input from Clarence or from other coaches then?
Yeah, kind of he's got the final say, but obviously Clarence brings in a variety of knowledge, not only from the Coach Kessinger era to then going off and branching off and coaching at Bethany to playing overseas. He was essentially playing and coaching over there to spending the last 3 years at William Jewell Division, 2 football program that that's when I look back. I said, if I have 3 full-time positions, including myself, I want to have the best kind of each role we can possibly be, versus bringing in a great defensive coordinator, having Tyler as our offensive coordinator and me stuck doing something that I'm not, great at. So switching over to defense allows us to kind of have, we're only going to have 3 full-time coaches, allows us to have an expert of every area, offense, defense, and special teams on our staff.
Not only with having the special teams knowledge and the offensive knowledge, what was it that stuck out for you to bring Coach Anderson back into the fold?
Yeah, not to say the other candidates in our pool weren't, but Clarence wanted to coach here. He wanted to be here, and that says a lot. Our program's built on family accountability and mindset, and when you have a family member that brave with Braves bonds that wants to come back and wants to coach, then I think that rose to the top because he wants to be here. It wasn't, hey, a candidate wanted to come here because of a title. A candidate wanted to come here. It was, he wanted to come here because he wants to get this thing rolling, because he's a Brave and he has those Brave bond connections with our alumni base, and with obviously his brother is the dean of students here at the school. So I think that was huge. Not to mention, he's a phenomenal football coach, but when you have a really good football coach and a really good football coach, and one guy really wants to be at Ottawa because he loves Ottawa, and the other guy wants to be there potentially because it's a job title or a raise or something else, like, I think that weighs quite a bit.
So the passion for the university itself and the football program, and he has a lot of it. There is no doubt about it. One of the more, if not maybe the most decorated player in OU history, at least within the top 2 or 3. So it had to have been a no-brainer to say, yeah, come back.
Yeah, it was an extensive search, and he did everything everybody else did, and at the end of the day, we just felt he was the best person for us here at Ottawa.
I know in your coaching searches last year, you wanted potential coaches to create videos and things like that. Was that part of the recruitment process this time? And if so, how impressive was Clarence in his video?
Yeah, that's something that we asked all the candidates to do, and he's just a personal guy. So he did a great job. We Zoomed everybody, and made the guys jump through some hoops.
Let's take a step back now. We discussed Coach Clarence Anderson joining the group. We kind of talked about the off season as far as adjustments and things that you've looked for and are looking towards the upcoming season. Recruiting, pretty solid day's worth of work for you guys on the recruiting trail. I think one that strikes out is that the signing class has a pretty good GPA walking into OU. That's one, but also just the scope of where these players are coming from. You guys really hit the road and have put together a nice list of players coming in.
Yeah, and that's without what I think adding Clarence Anderson. I know we talked about all the positive things. Like, he's known as one of the best recruiters in the state of Kansas at any level. All right. So we're going to only get better at recruiting in our home backyard because he's the most loved man in the whole city of Wichita besides Barry Sanders, I think. Right. So, and it's not bad being number 2 to Barry Sanders. So that's not too bad. But yeah, Coach Barty left early January. So he helped do a nice job in November and December when we had it rolling, and we had visits in December. But we were down a full-time coach for really the whole month of January and beginning of February and signing day. So we were down a coach. Coach Garcia is getting certified to become an elementary school teacher. So we were down a graduate assistant Monday through Friday. Coach Greenwood on our staff was still working a part-time job because he wasn't, a full-time graduate assistant for us. So we had me, Coach Hennis, Coach Pate, Coach Schaff, and Devin before he left for his job in Emporia. We had 5 guys recruiting win if we were fully staffed at 8 and still being able to bring in over 60 guys from across the whole entire country with great graduate or with great GPA. And the big thing for us is get them on campus. Every one of those guys, but 4, has visited campus, and those other 4 are going to make it to campus at some point during their spring break. They just couldn't make it work in December and January. We want to get them on campus. I want to get them in Kansas when it's cold, and I want them to know what they're getting themselves into, because at the end of the day, it's not a 1-year deal. I want those guys to be here for 4 years, and I'm not tricking anyone. We're not promising playing time. We're not doing any of that. This is who we are. Do you fit within that? And if you do, we can have a great relationship and we can have a lot of fun here and build something special. Every single recruit, we said, if you want to be a 2-8 football player, don't come here. You wasted your time visiting, but we don't want to be average. So we're looking for guys that want to build and want to build this thing back. What Coach Kessinger had it rolling in those early years. All right. What Coach Peters had, Chris Creighton, all these coaches have had success. We want to build it to that. And then I don't want to stop building. I want to build it past what they've ever been able to do. That is my goal.
I'm going to approach this maybe from kind of a pro football sense when we talk of general managers as they get ready for drafts and such. But you're building a team and you're having to go out and meet students, prospective students, their families, and all you have is the tape to look at. So almost like a general manager in that sense of looking at players coming out and to be drafted. What were you looking for as a coach with character and personality? And also, were there specific player positions that you were looking to fill, or were you trying to do best athlete that you could get?
Yeah, a little bit of everything you said there, but guys make a highlight film, and if they're not making a ton of great plays in their 2-minute highlight film, they're probably not a great football player. Okay. Which doesn't mean that we're not afraid to recruit that guy to get them better. We have one of the best weight rooms in the whole entire country at our level, and sometimes better than Division I school. We got a full-time strength staff that's staffed with graduate assistants that's going to help. I have great faith in our coaches that we can develop guys. So, okay, just because his film, none of our guys are rivals recruits, right? We're in the developing college football business at the NAI level. There's going to be guys that, bounce back or 24 years old and played at Florida State 6 years ago and something happened and hasn't gone to school for 5 years. Like, those are going to be guys in the NAI, but there's also going to be 18-year-olds that you have to develop. So we're in the developmental business. In terms of what positions we went after, we knew we needed to get better at the offensive line. Okay. And we have a lot of really good pieces, coming back. We feel like our offensive line was better than what it was 2 years ago. We got to continue to get better. We have the best offensive line in our conference. Okay. And we don't win championships. That will be on the coaches. Okay. So that's what our ultimate goal is, to become the best offensive line in our conference. Okay. And is it attainable? Yeah. I don't know when it's going to happen, but we got to develop and we got to recruit those guys. We also needed to create, go get more defensive backs, because we're going to play 5 of them. We have to have a lot more. This spring, we got 12 guys on our team, the defensive backs, and we have 16 off the line. Okay. You get into a game week with that number and guys get injured and all that sort of stuff, you're looking at 7 or 8 guys. So we got to create some depth there. Okay. And we got to get better, crazy, not the crazy. The nice thing about the NAI, I can recruit every position every year, and we can go get good football players. I'm not locked in at Alabama. Saban has 1 scholarship for a quarterback. He's got 3 scholarships for receivers. He's got 1 scholarship for a running back. And then, now they're giving these kids $1 million Teslas or whatever to come. Like, hey, that's pretty easy. Okay. We're convincing all these players to come play for us. We want really good players in each position, but everybody's got to pay some amount to come to school here. playing Division II or NAIA football, it isn't the glorious, hey, I'm gonna get paid for, and they're gonna give me a Tesla. So it's about going to school. So it's finding the right guys that want to be at Ottawa University, that are good enough to play, that if they aren't good enough to step in and play, they're good enough to want to work in development and develop and finding the right mixture of guys. So getting on campus is huge. Getting a recommend every one of those guys in that signing day class. We talk to their high school football coach or their college coach, and most of them are high schools. So there's a few grad transfers, but most of them are high school. And we got their recommendation from their high school coach. So we're bringing in great players because we've reached out to the high school coach and did our homework.
So no NIL deals on the table here, I'm assuming, for at Ottawa University.
KOFO, I heard, is looking into it. All right, potentially. Pizza Time would love it. Pizza Time. If we would like to go primetime grill, the offers are out there. I just need the people to come through, right? Like, I'm willing to throw it out, KFO. Like, if you want it, we could go get a really good quarterback if you're willing to pay him $1 million a year. Okay.
I think if I had $1 million to hand out, I'd think about it.
Program change the town of Ottawa. Just think, we're winning national championships. What's that drive the business? All right, people's going to be turning on the radio in the car. I know it. They're going to want to hear, all right, football, family, and food podcasts. They're going to check in at the game day, Nick Davis game day show. We're winning national championships and we're paying a quarterback $1 million. People are going to want to know.
I could see it now. It might even get a nifty sign out of the deal.
Yeah, I'm with it. Yeah, billboard.
A big billboard with your face on it.
Just right the player that we're paying $1 million.
Well, you've got to be on there too now.
And Gibby the Otter needs to be on there. Sure, if I got to be in the corner somewhere, sure. If I have
to. No, you have to. There is no doubt. And
I think we'll get Clarence Anderson on there.
Well, Clarence himself has already got the key to the city, so that's.
He's got the key and the backup key.
Oh, absolutely. And he also has the thing on his phone that you can unlock stuff with too. So with the smart devices.
Yeah. Yep.
That's you bring up some of the kids that you're bringing in. A lot of high school. You did mention kind of a handful of some grads or community college. What is your philosophy when it comes to getting players? Do you like to have a mix? Do you just want high school? A lot of people like to use community colleges to build programs and keep programs where they're at. What's your philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I want guys that want to be at Ottawa University. I don't want a guy that wants to come here for a semester, whether he's a high school guy or a junior college guy, or been at 7 different schools. I don't want a guy here that wants to go here for a semester, play, and then go to the NFL or use us to transfer to go to Ohio State. And that's fine. Other programs may want that. I want guys that want to graduate from Ottawa University, want to have an amazing experience. And if that's a junior college guy, great. If it's a high school guy, great. We're looking for great students. I don't go recruit 2.0 GPA guys. And so we're looking for good students. We want guys over high school 3.0. We want junior college guys. We want them to come visit. If you're from California and you really don't want to come visit, I don't know if we're a great fit. Come visit us. California is very different than Kansas. Okay. I don't want you to get here and think, oh, Coach Davis isn't, like that. Come visit me. Talk to our guys, visit our school, see if Ottawa, Kansas is where you want to be to finish your football playing career, at the college level. So we're not picky, but we are looking for that guy. And there's junior college players that want that experience. There's high school guys that want what we're offering. We want the guys that want that experience.
You brought up offensive line. That was one thing that you were looking to build upon and bringing that in. Defensive backs. were there any other positions that you were focusing on? And are there ones that you're still focusing on to maybe try to bring in kids, transfer kids, as we get through spring ball, summertime, and then into the fall camp?
Yeah, we brought in a few different quarterbacks to compete. We feel going into the spring, Billy Maples is the guy there. But we want competition. We want competition at every position. So we brought in some quarterbacks. Our high school class is young at the receiver. Part which as a coach is a little scary. A transfer guy knows what college football potentially could be. Oh, there's Annie. She loves transfers, but the at tight end, we could still go get a veteran tight end. We could go. We had a great transfer running back recruit on campus today, and he had a great visit. So linebacker, we went mostly young because we have a lot of older linebackers. We could go and potentially get a transfer D lineman, one, but it was really everything in terms of that issue is secured in what we want to accomplish. If there's a really good a great football player that wants to get on a university, I can make it work financially for that person and our school. We're going to make it work. But there's so many AI programs still beating down the door trying to get their signing day class. Their school tells them they got to have 150 guys on the roster, and they're still recruiting. We are recruiting only quality football players that want to be at Ottawa University. We're not just every guy in the country, send them an offer at this point.
So that'll transition to spring ball, which is coming up here, and an exciting time to get out, get some practices, get your spring game, get in front of family and friends and alumni at Ottawa University. We'll start off first. Will there be any amount of those kids that were part of the recruiting class be able to be in for spring ball?
Yeah, so we got two young men from California. One actually was both are junior college offensive linemen. One is a 3-year, really good, over 3.0 or 3.5, I think, GPA, junior college offensive lineman. The other one played junior college for a season. We recruited him hard last year as a high school student, and junior college wasn't for him. So he came to us after being at junior college for a fall. So we added those two pieces to our offensive line, and we added actually a high school kid who graduated early at quarterback. We have another kid we were recruiting, his brother, who's going to be a high school receiver that's committing to us, that was a transfer, played at Iowa Wesleyan, and decided that he'd like to play with his brother, and a third junior college quarterback. So one NAI transfer, one junior college quarterback, a high school guy, two offensive linemen, and I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, we a young man who played at Central Missouri a few years ago and couldn't, make it work at that situation, matured a little bit in his life and is making it work. So on the offensive side, we got 6 newcomers. Actually, 7th, I forgot my man, Elia Padilla. He was one of our high school kids on our team, his high school teammate, and he was sitting at home with nothing to do and wanted to come, so he's going to play receiver. So 7 on offense. On defense, no new faces that you're going to see this spring.
So spring ball will be starting. Let's walk real quick. Let's walk through some of those dates coming up here. Practices for spring will be starting.
Yeah, so we practiced this morning. Again, I don't know when this podcast is going to get out, but March 21st, we went at 5:45 in the morning. That's why I'm a little hoarse. It was a beautiful day in Kansas for everyone listening here in 2 weeks, 40 degrees and a nice rain that cooled it down to about a nice hot 32 degrees. And we'll practice Wednesday, which is tomorrow in the afternoon. We will practice Thursday and Friday morning. the week of the 21st. That next week, we will practice on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we'll get our 7 practices in, or up to 7. We will turn around the next week and go 4 practices, most of them in the morning. All right, a few in the afternoon around 6 p.m. If you're interested in coming and watching practice, just reach out to us. I'll send you the times. And then that final week, we'll have practice 4 days, and then our spring game on April 15th after our women's flag football game. So it'll be around a 4 or 5 p.m. based on the women's flag football game, start and finish. But we wanted to be able, we got the 2-time defending national champs women's flag football team, and they just went to Florida and dominated 2 Division I football programs in flag football. So they are the premier program in the NAIA, or really in all divisions of women's flag football. And I want a nice crowd for those young ladies on April 15th before our spring football game.
During the springtime, what is it that you're wanting to work on? And is it mainly just installing new ideas offensively, defensively? Is it just kind of going with the reps of what's already currently in place? Kind of walk us through what you want to do with the opportunities here with spring practice.
Yeah, in terms of the family atmosphere, we want to become closer within our team. In terms of the accountability, I want to get to a spot where it's not the coaches keeping every kid accountable. It's their teammates keeping every kid accountable. And we're tracking everything this spring, from missing classes and all that sort of stuff. And we show it to our guys. And I want it to matter. I told them this was going to be the hardest spring they've ever had. And I want it to be there because I want it to be hard to play football at Ottawa University. I don't want it to just be easy. And I want guys that want to be elite in everything they do. And then in terms of the mindset, I want to get better every single day. And I'm going to coach these guys hard. Our guys want me to coach them hard. They told me that at the end of the offseason. They said, Coach Davis, we don't want you to be easy on us. We need you to be demanding. And I am. And I've had a great response to the kids, that, sometimes I'm coaching them hard. I'm like, dang, I'm coaching this kid's pretty hard, but that's what they wanted. They wanted to be coached hard. And again, they say that now, we'll find out, but we're creating a lot of adversity from the guys because there's going to be adversity when we play Southwestern week 0 of next season. And if we can overcome it, we'll have a chance to win the football game. When adversity strikes, we can't handle it, we will lose 100% of the time.
And with the spring game, will this just be situations that you'll be going through? Will it be a game per se?
Yeah, last year we were able to, without special teams, we were able to kind of get an offense and a defense and go down the field, and it was more like a game. We have a 3 deep of defensive line. We have a 3 deep of offensive line. If those guys are healthy, we'll try to simulate what we did last spring. Okay. Without special teams right now, our punter is a lacrosse player. I don't know if lacrosse is playing on the spring football game. We're currently looking for a kicker to kind of fill our kickoff role and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know where we will be at. We're working drills on special teams. We got to get better at special teams. That was probably our worst side of the football between offense, defense, and special teams. Is we got to get better at special teams. That's why I bring in the GOAT, Clarence Anderson, to run that. And we got to get better. But that's what I anticipate. If we're banged up and stuff, like, we're still going to play football. Just we may have to do a group, take a 5-minute break. So, if an offensive lineman's got to go back out there, he's getting a 5-minute break and go out there and play as much football on April 15th, which is my anniversary, all right, as we possibly can. And then I'm going to take my wife out to a nice dinner, hopefully, and she's not going to be too mad at me that I asked her to sell jerseys to alumni's family and friends during the game.
Speaking of food, we'll start. Let's go. What's your plans? Do you have what's your go-to when it comes to anniversary time, or is this something that's going to be a wait and see approach and maybe a last minute idea? What does the mastermind, the head coach, do when it comes to play calling for an anniversary dinner?
Yeah, I learned over the years, Bob, and I think this is the smart move. Let your wife pick what she wants to do. And if it's a bad deal, give her
Amen.
heck. All right. Give her heck. Uh, so yeah, this was a bad choice. We went to this place. I'm not going to say the name but she was all excited about it. She'd been excited about it for 6 months. We went there and it wasn't very good. And I said, that was your decision. And I let her have it. And she picks an amazing place, then hey, she did a great job. Whatever she wants to do, I will be there. I will be enthusiastic. I'll have a smile on my face, Bob, and I'll be excited just to spend time with my wife on our anniversary. Her go-to generally is she loves sushi. So I would think it's potentially going to be sushi. But we got a month, and I'm sure she'll be on Pinterest and Yelp and Instagram and find 1,000 different ideas. Let her do it. Okay. Don't buy for my wife, you don't buy random gifts. It doesn't go well. Talk to her about what she wants.
You got to be
And
targeted.
yeah, don't try to surprise her with a canvas of you and the dogs. She's not gonna like how she looked in that photo. If you don't surprise her, ask her what photo she wants if you're trying to do something romantic and sweet. So that's a lesson I've learned in my short marriage of what will be our 6 year anniversary this April.
I can tell you, after 20 plus years, we're now be 22 in May. Uh, the go to is you got a debit card, you go have fun.
Yeah,
Get yourself whatever you want. What do you want, dear? Go get it. Because after 22 years, I give up. I'll just be honest. I give up. I don't know. When I think I'm going to do the right thing, it may not be the right thing. I I just go with the go to. You got the card, go crazy.
yeah, I'm with you, Bob. I learned that I think year two.
Do you ever get asked questions that that you shouldn't answer? Because I can tell you, as in my early days of being asked, "Does this make me look fat?" The first response was, "I will not answer that question on the grounds that no matter what I say will be incorrect. Because if I say no, you look great, you look fantastic. What are you going to tell me? Oh well, you have to say that. That you didn't mean that. I go, no, you look like a fat cow.
Well, I mean, I know this is going to go into kind of our next segment, but I've learned when she's like, "What are you interested in eating?" I'll say the complete opposite thing of what I'm actually interested in eating because I know man, I don't know. So if I wanted to eat tacos, I'm not going to say tacos. I know she's not a big pizza gal or barbecue. I'll say, let's get pizza or barbecue. No, no. Well, what about, Penn Station? Yeah. Well, what tacos? Oh, maybe we could do tacos. So I've learned, Bob, is whatever my first three choices are, I'm going to get a no. But if I can pick the three things I don't want first, I might be eating tacos, which leads us to one of my new favorite places is street tacos in Olathe. Okay, um uh there's like a Mexican grocery store in Olathe on Santa Fe Avenue, Benici Michoacan, and then on the other side of the interstate in Olathe, there's a place called Street Tacos. It's a classic name. They have street tacos, and it's phenomenal.
That is the food pick for this one right here. So
Yep.
we will ride that one into the sunset on the Football Family and Food podcast, or however you want to put those F's together, as long as it does not have a 4 letter word involved that gets us kicked off of YouTube or wherever this thing will be streamed. Uh, go for it. Have fun with it. I mean, this is the podcast. This is what we do now, and As we wrap up here, Coach, I want to say thank you for a little inside baseball. Ironically, it's on behind me. Um, we've had a little struggle with getting everything between internet being garbage to trying to get schedules to work out. So I appreciate it, and thank you for joining us again. And let's plan on doing this maybe right after or shortly after the spring game.
Sounds good. We'll have to get the GOAT, Clarence Anderson. If he's not signing autographs and kissing babies and going around the town and locking all the doors with that cell phone app, we'll have to get him on here to give the people what they want.
Absolutely, there must be some Clarence Anderson before we get to the football season. So for Coach Nick Davis, I'm Bob Johnson. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Football, Food, and Family Podcast. As we will talk to you again probably around the end of April, and we'll discuss spring ball and see what's up with Coach's food, and maybe find out, hey, how'd that anniversary go, and maybe we'll have a little bit of Dr. Nick and Loveline. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen on the podcast. Thanks for joining us.